Hello and welcome. Chris from Missouri here, bringing you another video about vintage baseball cards. In this video, I'm going to show you some cards. I'm going to show you some cards that I got back from SGC. I'm going to show you some cards that maybe I've shown you before, but what I want to talk to you about first before I show you some cards is I want to get, I was thinking about something that came up on a collaboration video that Dave Legends of the Dugout and some friends were doing. And I got on there and I said something, and I wasn't fishing for a compliment or fishing for oh, Chris, your cards are great. I said on there, and I believe I said it like this to them, that, my collections, for the most part, has been kind of a generic kind of collection. And I'm not, again, I'm not searching for any kind of compliment or any kind of sympathy at all, because I love my collection, and there's not too many collections I would trade it for, just because it's been with me my whole life. But what I meant by that was there was nothing in my collection too much in my collection out of the ordinary. I collected Topps cards, and I collected Bowman cards, and I even collected some pre-war T206 cards. And those are some great cards. I have some great cards in there. But to me, saying those kind of cards, Bowman, Topps, and T206, is kind of generic. There's nothing out of the ordinary or oddball. And I know that term oddball has kind of been brought up, and it's oddball cards to me. Okay, but again, I love Rick Oddball Cards channel. But before I started doing stuff on YouTube, and before I started getting friends from YouTube to talk about their collection and what they like, my collection was a little bit, like I say, generic, with the occasional 76 Hostess or a Kellogg card. There wasn't much in there. But since I've come up with some friends and or other channels that I'm watching, I get kind of excited now about oddball cards. And the first thing, one of the first sets after I got on YouTube that I saw and was talking to another YouTuber that I went after was the 1961 Golden Press cards. Now, what that is, and I'll show some of those cards later on, maybe not in this video, but it's Hall of Fame players that are not playing days players, but they're Hall of Famers that played back in the day. And in 1961, they put them on cardboard, and I just love them. They never would have been in my collection, or never would have been anything that I went to a show to look out to see if I could get, had it not been that I talked to some people that I've met here on YouTube. And so since the starting of YouTube and becoming friends with people 2 years ago, some of my stuff has changed. I mean, there's some great collectors besides just Rick of Rick Oddball Cards that collect stuff that's out of the ordinary. I have a friend, Andrew Nuff Said Cards. I mean, go over and watch his top 50 cards in his collection, or his favorite cards in his collection, and you'll see a lot of oddball cards. He got me excited about the Oxford confectionery cards, and I have a couple of them in my collection. And then I started thinking, people make fun of me for the MP3 cards and different things like that, but it has Hall of Famers that really don't look like themselves, but I kind of want those cards. I kind of fallen in love with them. And the cards that I'm going to show you now, I've kind of fallen in love with. Now, I don't have the complete set of them, but I'm getting closer to having all that I want of this particular set. And what I'm saying, and I'm not saying you have to. I'm not telling you, you should do stuff like I do, but I opened up my eyes and I opened up my thinking a little bit that okay, there's other cards that I'm going to fall in love with. Now, it's harder, and it is getting harder and harder for me to pick up the generic cards that are left for me to pick up. I really, and they get tougher. The better the cards are that you need, the higher the price is, and the harder it is for me to pick up. For instance, it's not generic. It's generic in my terms, but it's a great card, and that's the Leaf Satchel Paige, the 49 Leaf Satchel Paige. That's an expensive card, and it's one of the 3 Leafs cards that's on my short list to get: the George Kell, the Larry Doby, and the Satchel Paige. And man, I want to get one, but it's going to be tough to do. I want to get the Jackie Robinson 52 because that's a generic Topps card. Now, it's a great card to have in the 52s. I just don't have it. So some of those generic cards that I need are getting tougher and tougher, so I can branch out when I go to shows, and I might see something I like that I want to add to my collection. And the cards that I have fallen in love with now that I want to try to complete is the 1952 Wheaties cards. And I just got back some from being graded from SGC. I'm just glad they got slabbed because they look so good, and now they're not gonna get any more damage done to them no matter how much I handle them. And I don't know, they're going to stay in my collection for a long time. So let me show you these 5 cards. Let me see how many I have. These 5 cards that I got back from SGC, and then I'll be back to talk to you in a second. So I don't quite have all the Hall of Fame baseball players, but this set has numerous kind of people, numerous kind of sports. I am just after the baseball stuff, and this is the Ralph Kiner. That's a beautiful card, and I'm glad to have it. Another one that I just got back, authentic as well, is the Bob Lemon in action. Here's the Bob Lemon portrait. One that I was really glad to pick up and get slabbed is this Bob Feller in action. Now those cards look beautiful. Last but not least, and I have this card, I had it already, but I could not turn it down, and now that I had it, I wanted to see if it looked better in the slab than the one I have. And it looks really, really pretty. It's got a little bit of stain issue on top and different things. But say hello to Bob Feller, 1952 Wheaties. Now, I'm not going to show all these, but it's going to look good with my Phil Rizzuto. I am looking for a Phil Rizzuto portrait, and I'm looking for a Ted Williams in action. Now those cards are going to pair up real well together. They're going to be fun to show and fun to display. Now again, that just gives me something else to go after, something else to look for. I could pivot in my collecting by going after some bigger grades of some of these rookie cards, but I've said the grades don't matter much to me. I have the card, and I enjoy going after new stuff instead of trying to make my stuff better. But I am not putting down anybody that does that. I just do it a little bit different. So, I have these cards I'm going after, and the Oxford cards I'm going after, and some other oddball cards. And I do not mind saying oddball cards, but guys, this is how I do it. You may do it different. Leave a comment and let me know. But remember, guys, it's just a hobby. Collect what you love.